As the new Sellercloud REST API came out, I found myself working even more with the SOAP API as well, which is surprising, but when I originally released the source code so that you also could interact with the SOAP API using Python, I found that there was some confusion about how to use it, and even though people were interested and happy that I was releasing the code, there was still some confusion. So this time around, now that I've made an upgrade, I want to make a short explainer video, and hopefully you can find it as easy as I do. Also, I've added threading onto this one, so it does take a long time to load the SOAP WSDL. It takes me about 35 seconds on just about any computer. And using threading, I allow that to happen mostly in the background until I'm expecting something to happen. So here I have the Sellercloud class, and you don't need to know what's in here if you don't want to, but there's about 2,000 lines of code, so a lot of work did go into it, and I just want you to be able to use it. Here I have a main function, 35 lines of code, mostly explainer lines, so I'm just going to go through them one by one. You need to import the class, otherwise you can't use it. Actually, I don't even think you need this on this level. I'm just importing time so that I can artificially create some delay to show you how threading works. I'm importing credentials from a different file because I don't want you to see my credentials. However, they look exactly like this. You have the WSDL URL, where your endpoint may vary depending on your domain. You have your username, your password, whatever your application name is, whatever version it is. I don't know how how devices are validated. I just always put false. And for device ID, Sellercloud will accept anything. I like to put in the MAC address because every device has a MAC address. But that's it. That's setting up the credentials. So we can minimize this because we don't need this anymore. Next, to instantiate it, it's pretty straightforward. You're going to pass whatever's in here. Again, I'm loading it from elsewhere because I don't want you to see my password. You pass it into Sellercloud, and if it's instantiated. Next, you're going to authenticate. This is the part which takes 35 seconds. This is the part which I'm now doing through threading. So here, I'm showing you that even though we call authenticate, that it will immediately get to the next thing. And the beautiful part is, rather than having to wait 35 seconds, you could do whatever it is that your app has to do. And then, only afterwards, when you call a function which is dependent on that thing having been loaded, then you wait the rest of the time. So if it would have been 35 seconds and you had, in this case it's 10 of your own seconds of some other data that you wanted to do something else with, then you only wait the balance, the remaining, 25 seconds. So having artificially done this, artificially slowed this down, we then say, okay, we're about to call set product inventory for warehouse ID, and this is a SKU test delta account, and we're going to take the quantity 2 and we're going to increase it on the virtual warehouse. In this case, it's 229, right? So let's run it. And here again, it's instantiating. We see immediately that even though it's waiting in the background, we are ostensibly working on our own thing. Let's do another thing. So at 36, here it's getting to wait time is over, so those 10 seconds have passed, and now we do wait the difference. We still have to wait for the WSDL to load before it can call this function. And in this case, it wasn't that long. 46 to 58 is another 12 seconds, and here it says finished. So again, we changed this SKU. We made it quantity 2 on the virtual warehouse, and I'm going to go here and reload, and sure enough, quantity 2 on the virtual warehouse for that SKU. So that is it in a nutshell. I'm briefly, not that you're going to want to use it, but if it did not have threading the way it currently does, it would look like this. And again, it certainly does have threading, so you don't have to wait this out. But first it instantiates, then only after the 35 seconds, which now that I've run it, I'm going to make you painstakingly wait. Then it'll get to the next function, which may or may not take 10 seconds or however many seconds. And only lastly will it get to this. So without the threading, you don't get the improved time management. So I hope you found this useful. I'm going to include the source code for the GitHub page in the link in the description. And if you need any other help with anything else, any other software development, I am, of course, always happy to help.